GI, your leaders are lobster maxing while they feed you garbage. Are you garbage pilled, GI? Why come to our country just to get jester mogged? You should pack up your weapons and take them to Mar-a-Lago, GI. Don't let the president spike your cortisol. It's time to pull him out of his goon cave and take him to Tomato Town.
That's the character we're calling Tehran Taylor, I think.
Yes.
See our last episode if that one doesn't make any sense.
What do we know? What does we? How are the union and the socialist be? Everything I can need, oh I need, oh I need, oh I need, oh what does we? Oh what does we? Oh what does we? Oh what does we?
Welcome back to Workers Lit, your favorite podcast about fighting for the narrative. It is just me and Jen today. Lenore is, I think,
Lobster
in a cave.
maxing.
Yeah, she's lobster maxing in a cave somewhere. I'm not sure. She's tricking Pete Hegseth into the announcement he made today. Did you see that?
No.
He announced today that they're no longer requiring flu vaccines for people in the military, and like a lot of vaccines are no longer mandatory for people in the military. Just straight up like complete unforced error, like just bad at being efficient, like whole battalions going down to sickness type shit.
And from something like the flu is so weak. Wow. Amazing.
Like if you look at like historical numbers of casualties in war, like influenza is often like a quarter to more of them. Like World War I, especially, I'm pretty sure we lost more people to influenza than we did to actual fighting in World War One.
I think that's true. Yeah.
I mean, admittedly, it was a bad time for that, but I'm just like, I've been developing a theory, and I put it up on Blue Sky, that the Trump administration is bringing back the Habsburg mentality of the 30 Years War. And if you think about it, right? Okay, making a lot of mistakes with illness, allowing illness to ravage the ranks. Okay, making a lot of mistakes with food. Logistically, they're not feeding their foot soldiers because they think the foot soldiers should just believe.
Yeah.
They are natural allies of the Catholic Church in this religious war, but they continue to alienate the Catholic Church by being stupid as shit. Okay, they should be best friends with France. France should be close with them, but France has turned on them because they're being so stupid. All of this is Habsburg maxing. And that is how the Habsburgs lost the 30 Years War, even though they really had every advantage. What are we thinking? Is this first as tragedy, then as farce type situation? Is Trump the Habsburg emperor? Yeah.
Not a tragedy the first time, but still a farce now, for sure.
First as farce, then as farce, as they say.
Yes, double farce.
Trump has Habsburg emperor energy for sure.
But he doesn't have the jawline. Can't pull it off.
No, that's true. He doesn't have Habsburg jaw, but like I could see if the Trumps keep having kids, I could see like a next generation Trump looking like a Habsburg jaw for sure. You know, did you read that article that came out a couple of years ago about like where like the last of the Habsburgs are doing right now?
I didn't know that they were doing anything. I was hoping that they would have spread their gene pool a little thinner so that we don't have to think about them in the same context.
They're not really important anymore. There's just a few people with like the last name Habsburg that are still like, I mean, they're like independently wealthy from family wealth. And there's like two that are still young. One of them is advocating for turning Germany fascist again.
Neat.
And sounds good. One of them put all his money into being an F1 race driver, and his life is just being like a race car driver. And he was like, yeah, I figured I'd stay out of politics. My family's done enough. I'm just going to be a race car driver. And I think that's the right call. If you're like the child of nobility, get the fuck out of politics and go and like do something fun with your money. Like something unobjectionable. Anyway, how are you doing, Jen?
I'm okay. I'm very sleepy, but I woke up from my nap just to talk to you.
Hell yeah, we love that. Well, today, the news is very much in limbo in a very weird way. Like the situation with Iran is very like, as we speak, very like it could go one way, it could go another way. A lot of things are just kind of floating in the air. All that is solid has melted into air, as one man said it would. And so I thought of something that we could focus on, and is
Mm,
a few months ago, Alexander Karp, the
mm,
CEO of Palantir, a very important technology and weaponry company,
mhm.
published a novel, not a novel, it's not a fucking novel. It's a book. It's called The Technological Republic, Hard Power, Soft Belief in the Future of the West. It was an instant #1 New York Times bestseller. NPR named it the best book of the year. Wall Street Journal gave it a very high reviews. Time put Karp at one of the 100 most influential people of the year. This was a critically acclaimed novel by the academia, even liberal academia was like, this is really good, actually. Um, we did not read the book. I read a decent chunk of it. What we did do is note that Palantir, the company, just 2 days ago put up a summary of the book, a bullet point summary, saying that this is their manifesto, that this is their mentality, and this is how they're going to be engaging in politics going forward. Now, we should know Palantir, founded by and a large share owned by Peter Thiel, the guy who is close, was close with Elon Musk before he burned Elon Musk in a hilarious fashion by kicking him off the board of PayPal while he was on his
Mhm.
honeymoon. Very funny. Peter Thiel, whose boyfriends continue to, when they turn 25 or 26 years old, commit suicide mysteriously. Kind of weird how that goes. Evangelical Christian, despite being gay, just decided that part doesn't apply to him,
It does
as
not.
these people do. And
He's the special one.
very much the man who made JD Vance. JD Vance is, we know who JD Vance is because of Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel's
Unfortunately.
money is, I mean, JD Vance top to bottom is a Peter Thiel creation.
You think he's a
Hillbilly.
top or a bottom?
I don't want to know.
Bottom for
E-
sure. We've seen
even
the way
I,
he grovels. Yeah.
even I can't fix him. And I've
Would
tried.
you want to? You wouldn't.
What would I want to fix Peter Thiel in the sense of would I want access to his billions? I mean, we could do useful things with that, but it's not possible. Also, I know what happens to his young boyfriends. I'm too old for Peter Thiel, given
Yeah,
the history.
that's true. What does he
Um,
do to his young boyfriends? Do they end up
a,
dead?
a lot of men he's dated have committed suicide in the exact same way around the exact same age. We'll say it that way. So it's a little
Interesting.
odd. There's some odd stories there. You can look into it. We're not alleging anything on this podcast. I'm just saying it's odd that his boyfriends tend to commit suicide under similar circumstances. That's kind of
Quote
a
unquote
strange thing to
suicide.
happen, right?
It is
Uh,
strange.
I'll link some stuff in the description if y'all are interested in looking more into that from people that have actually done the research. And I will also say, yeah, very much JD Vance, very much beholden to him. Donald Trump, less beholden than JD Vance, but still quite
Mm,
beholden to Thiel and Karp. And Palantir has been increasingly integrated into the American government, both domestically and internationally. A lot of technology that was used in Gaza for surveillance was Palantir even previously to the beginning of the 2023, the genocide that began in 2023, really the escalation, what was already
mm,
happening. A
mhm.
lot of domestic surveillance is through Palantir. Palantir owns or has shares in a lot of apps, like period tracking apps and things like that you can get on your phone. Which there's some interesting stuff there, and they report on
No,
shit to law enforcement.
that's so fucked up. And a couple years ago when Texas's full abortion ban passed, there was a big push to get people to stop using those period tracking apps
And
because
Palantir
they
bought up a
are
lot of that
being
shit.
used as surveillance and they can find out when your missed period was, and then they'll start tracking if you try to leave town. I hate the Handmaid's Tale comparisons. Have y'all done Handmaid's Tale on the
You
socialist
know,
shelf?
we have not done Handmaid's Tale on our literature side of the podcast, but it has been on our list for a while.
It might be a
Um,
good idea to do, but I hate the comparisons of it because I think, as a lot of activists and specifically women of color have pointed out, this isn't new and it's only special because it's now happening to white women. And specifically, in that story, the book, the TV show, it's
my
terrifying because
understanding is, and I'm speaking as someone who's not an expert, that the book is a little more principled than the TV show is. But again,
oh, that's good to know. I
um,
haven't read the book. I watched the first few seasons of the show, but I The fact that the main actress is a Scientologist, it is weird
Right,
to me
right.
to, like, be in a cult and be like, "Cults are bad." Like, I don't know, man. I have a hard time
Yeah,
with that.
my knowledge of it is limited. That's what I know. I've read some stuff from Margaret Atwood that's really good. Orcs and
Mm,
Crake is like a really, really good dystopian novel, um, about like environmentalism and shit like that. So interested to get into Handmaid's Tale at some point. But yeah, no, your
mm,
points are correct. So all that to say, Palantir deeply involved in ICE, deeply
mm,
involved in a lot of AI, deeply
mhm.
involved in. They've been like increasingly taking contracts for doing surveillance experimentation on Native American reservations. In fact, they've been doing that for some years. Some recent reporting
What?
has come out on that. So like they are very much like in the vein of like that really weird, really techno fascist shit. And they're really
Mm.
into this like technocracy stuff. Like, do you know about the tech Native America, Jen?
That's a phrase that those words don't seem to go together.
The tech Native America is a concept that was believed in by a lot of white South Africans,
Oh
Canadians,
god.
North Americans. There were Americans as well, like US citizens. Elon Musk's father was deeply ingrained in this. It was this kind of movement of men post World War II who had this concept of a Western Hemisphere empire that was like libertarian in nature, aside from its military, that was like linked city states that were like like a technological semi-republic that like cities were run differently. It's really fucking weird, and a lot of it is complete bullshit and like pseudo nonsense. Like
Mhm.
it's not, I hate to say like fascism is a more coherent theory of government, but like it actually is. Like it was like at least like there is a theory of government to fascism. Tech Native America was like these guys like jacking themselves off basically.
Yeah, it sounds like a fake, a bad novel.
However,
Mm.
Peter Thiel, also a white South African,
Ugh.
uh
Is he?
like
I
is
didn't know that.
oh yeah, fucking all our I fear that a
God, he's
lot of
only
folks came over.
58.
Oh yeah.
And so
Uh
is Alex Karp. They're both only 58
yeah,
fucking years
they're young.
old. Fuck, man.
And these guys basically are like kind of the next generation of that tech Native America. They're into the concept of network states, which is kind of the evolved version of that. And they are linked up with the Oracle guys, the dudes who are into
Ugh,
Oracle,
yeah.
who believe that there is a coming apocalypse where like following the apocalypse there will be like a series of city states ruled by the capitalists, like, and have been like preparing for that, which like specifically like some of the dudes at Oracle like genuinely believe in. I mean, these people are fucking weird and crazy, and like it's not, a lot of it's not true, but it is still like due to their access to capital and power, nonetheless threatening, even if their vision per se will not come to pass.
Right, right. Do these people, and I don't know much about Alex Karp as a man. I'm like, I pulled up his Wikipedia right now. He's born in New York. Um, so the better fascists, if we can use that word, of history. I'm specifically thinking of someone like a Mussolini who had very much studied the works of
Right,
Marx.
a competent is maybe a better word than better.
Competent, yes, had made him, um had made him good at it and able to reach people and get them involved
Right.
in his movement. I don't feel like these guys have that same uh, education or gravitas or even like ability to speak to working people, which I guess works in our favor because they come off as such out of touch psychopaths. So I feel like that's at least one mark for us.
Ironically, kind of funnily, Karp of all of them is probably the one that can relate to normal people the most and like talk to
Ugh,
normal people the most effectively, which is
yeah.
why like this book got play. Like this book
Mm.
did numbers, and the thing is, a lot of liberals loved this book. They were like, "This is the kind of conservatism we need."
Jesus,
Um,
man.
which is why we're talking about this, because
Mhm.
listen, the MAGA movement is not this eternal thing. Like there is
Right.
no version of MAGA that reigns for 1,000 years. It's not,
Absolutely not.
it's not a self-sustaining thing. It
No,
is,
it's
even if
incoherent.
it like, even if there is an heir to Donald Trump, which I'm like not convinced there will be, but if there
Mm.
is an heir to Donald Trump in the sense of like we just keep doing it, this is like a inherently unstable thing that's like just like a mix of bullshit that can only exist in a very particular period that we now find ourselves in. And we
Yeah.
already see its contradictions smashing up against each other, and also its limitations in that it is embodied in this man that is like shitting himself on a public stage, right?
I think if there is an heir to Donald Trump, it's more like a Malay and not an
Right.
American, right? Like it's other people, other leaders, people that are already in positions to take this idea, this power, and run with it. Whereas I, and that is a good thing that it doesn't really exist here. JD Vance certainly is not able to pull the crowds and the laughs that Trump is able to do. So at
Nor
least
does
we have
JD Vance
that.
have the same access to like personal networks of power, right? JD Vance, like
Right.
one thing that we like don't talk about that much is that part of Trump's power is that Trump has access to massive amounts of capital personally, and like his
Yes.
personal connections in real estate and stuff like that to
Yeah.
the Saudis, to like has long been a thing, and like those networks have played for him. JD Vance, we talked about it in our Hillbilly Elegy episode.
Mm.
At the end of the day, he comes from like a middle class family, a pretty comfortable
Yeah.
middle class family, despite how he
Yeah.
styles himself in his book. But he
Right.
doesn't come from like capital. You know, he doesn't
Yeah.
like his access to power is through guys like Peter Thiel and Alex Karp and now
But
Donald
maybe it's
Trump.
like Kushner. It is independently of that level. He doesn't
Maybe if
have
until
the
you hear him talk, he does not have
charisma.
the
Yeah, he
sauce.
has no. He's like a Zuckerberg, like with his mannerisms and.
If I had to guess, if there was someone that is an heir to MAGA, uh, it's like Marco Rubio to try
Yeah.
to like to and Rubio does not have the sauce, but like I could see enough of the Republican Party rallying around him. I
Mm-hmm.
think again, we're completely theorizing here. I think there's a real world in which there's like a new MAGA that emerges post Trump that's like a Tucker Carlson. Like these people are now who are considered dissident MAGA do like a comeback and like
Mm,
but all that to say is MAGA is an unstable deal.
right.
Palantir, what they're talking about here is some kind of consistent, self-sufficient, not just chaotic, changing the tariffs every day, changing the negotiations every day, blowing up deals, tweeting out random shit at 3 a.m. This is the
Mm-hmm.
concept of like an American authoritarian, neo-fascist project
Yeah.
that is self-sustaining, that is anti-democratic, and that like can actually exist and is not bound up in a single figure, which is why I think it's
Mm-hmm.
worth talking about. And we're going
Mm-hmm.
to read over the 21 points now and discuss it, because I think that if there is like a future of like a right-wing like a fascism that is able to get some kind of buy-in from the ruling class on a mass scale, including the like liberal wing of the ruling class, it looks like this, which like
Yeah.
if we doubted that, the fucking all the institutions absolutely raving over this book should prove otherwise. And like listen to the title
Yeah.
of the book. It's clearly a fascist text
What is
from
the
the
book
name of it.
title?
The Technological Republic, Hard Power, Soft Belief in the Future of the West. Like that's
What?
like clearly
How
it's a
hard
fascist text.
power soft belief?
And the future of the West. Like that
I
is so
hate.
clearly yeah.
I know we're about to get into this. So many of these points, like I said a minute ago, at first it sounds okay, yeah. And then, like, even like the second sentence, or like, you're like, oh no, that's fucked.
Yeah.
Are we ready to get into it? I want to start
Let's do
with
it.
point one.
All right,
So,
go ahead and we'll go back and forth and read the
yeah.
points. You can start.
So, point one starts off Silicon Valley owes a moral debt to the country that made its rise possible. And you first read that and you're like, you're goddamn right. Pay your fucking
Yeah.
taxes and house the homeless. But no, there's a second sentence. The engineering elite of Silicon Valley have an affirmative obligation to participate in the defense of the nation.
Yep.
So we're not talking about paying taxes to house the homeless. We're talking about surveillance state and bombs.
And we should also
Cool.
note that this is basically them laying out the thesis of why they have the right to engage in this politically at all, right?
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
oh, actually, this is us paying back our debt to the nation by us like asserting our power over you.
I think we should kill these people.
I mean, yeah. Number 2, we must rebel against the tyranny of the apps. Is the iPhone our greatest creative, if not crowning achievement as a civilization? The object has changed our lives, but it may also now be limiting and constraining our sense of the possible. I mean, like, I guess, but what is your proposed alternative? right? That's and from what I've seen of Karp's book, it's mostly like the same shit, just like apps run by like people he likes. Like it's like because he was like petty feud with like Zuckerberg. Like it's not
Oh, God.
particularly like it's more like we should do apps that are run by Oracle and Palantir and not apps that are run by like Meta. Like that's what
Right.
it's in.
And again, on its face, I'm like,
Yeah, sure.
we can talk all day about how people are addicted to their phones and how a lot of this shit has turned our brains to mush. Specifically, things like ChatGPT have like ruined people's thinking. But no, that's not what we're talking about.
But yeah, that one's not as interesting. Just basically them being like, we've got better products. Okay.
Yay. Oh, number 3. Free email is not enough. Okay, the decadence of a culture or civilization, and indeed its ruling class, will be forgiven only if that culture is capable of delivering economic growth and security for the public.
Okay, this shit reads like Mussolini. Like that part just reads like a Mussolini text. Like straight up right there.
But even worse, at least Mussolini wanted the trains to run on time. We don't even have trains, we have free email. Like,
Right.
what?
That I mean, that is to say, this reads like, well, you know, this reads like this acknowledgement, right? Of decadence, of a ruling class, of like there is like an acknowledgement of class in a way that like we have spent the last 75 years in this country trying to say class essentially doesn't exist and that it's bullshit and that it's fake.
Yeah.
And you now finally see over the last 10 years the right being like, oh yeah, no, class totally exists and it's like fine that it exists,
great.
or we can make it malleable, or it exists but only like liberals and leftists are the ruling class. You know, there's that famous tweet of the guy being like, I believe in the working class and the ruling class, I just think it's a little more complicated. Like I would say a local school board member is ruling class, but Elon Musk, he's working class, and that person wasn't kidding.
No,
Right,
and
like
you see this from those ACP who are fascists. Fuck you, fight me if you disagree with that. Because they say things like the homeless are the ruling class because they dictate what happens on our streets. And
so
again,
crazy.
these people should be not the
Just making
homeless, the ACP.
yeah, just making shit up. Like, what are you talking?
Just absurdity. Yes, I hate it all.
Yeah, it's real easy to become ruling class then, I guess. Like the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah,
Right?
quit your job,
Like,
bro.
yeah, do it right now. The fuck? Why don't you? Don't you want to be ruling class?
Don't you want to be the boss?
But yeah, this idea of acknowledging class and being like, it's fine. The decadence, the bullshit we do is fine as long as we keep growing and being secure and being powerful and exerting ourselves. And I'll say there's a truth to this. If there are treats for the working class that continue and there are like gains seen, a lot of the decadence, a lot of the bullshit is allowed. A lot of the capitalists of the early capitalists were forgiven for building giant fucking libraries and shit. Here's the thing. Now we get free email that we all know is not free because we all get the ads based on the shit we send in our email. And we don't get the libraries for the most part. And also the libraries aren't good enough. We can take the money and build cooler libraries. But all that to say is there is an acknowledgement there of like, there has to be like some buy-in. Number 4, the limits of soft power, of soaring rhetoric alone have been exposed. The ability of free and democratic societies to prevail requires something more than moral appeal. It requires hard power. And hard power in this century will be built on software.
That sounds gay.
Well, Peter
too much use of the word hard is it's a lot.
Hard power.
Hard. My power is so hard right now.
Yeah, your power's soft, bro.
Soft power is not what my definition of soft power is not even what this is talking about here. When I think of American soft power, I think of things like the fucking National Endowment for Democracy and like shit like that, right? That is used as a disguise for imperialism. So I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about right here.
Well, the thing is, the right wing has like scrapped a lot of that shit over the last like year and a half.
That's what Doge essentially did. Yeah.
Doge was like National Endowment for Democracy is woke. This money that we're spending to like propagandize on our own behalf, that's woke.
Yeah.
vaccine distribution in Africa is woke, things like
Oh
that.
my god.
The things
Yeah.
that some of it that was like, genuinely, it was not done for good reasons, but there was positive stuff, like especially being done through USAID,
Right. It's
things like
complicated.
yeah, it's complicated, and and the answer to it is, hey, just it was done for nefarious reasons, but like that we gave this shit away at all. But it's also
Mhm.
fucked up to turn the spigot off overnight that you have made people reliant on, like that you did
Right.
intentionally make people reliant on.
Oh,
Um,
exactly. I mean, my
that's
plan
that's
would
what
have
was
been
fucked
to
up about it.
keep the vaccines and stop the spying, but hey.
Right. Well, and USAID also very much existed with, despite what they say, with the intention of make foreign populations dependent on the U.S. government instead of their own states, and that
Correct.
money could have gone towards state building capacity.
Yeah.
And instead, actually, very often undercut state programs of those places, thus making the like welfare states of the other place incapable of like exerting themselves.
That's so
It's
sick.
complicated and fucked up, and it doesn't make it any less fucked up to just be like overnight. Okay, now you don't have your AIDS medication.
Right.
Um, but that's kind of what they're talking about here because that's woke. Number 5.
Number
Oh, I'm sorry,
5.
that's you.
It's my turn. Number 5. The question is not whether AI weapons will be built, it is who will build them and for what purpose. Our adversaries will not pause to indulge in theoretical debates about the merits of developing technologies with critical military and national security applications. They will proceed. I love how we like to talk about our quote unquote enemies of America as if they are so evil and insidious when it truly is just us that is doing these things. Like the
I mean, like
whole
China
reason.
has AI powered weaponry, but like they spend like a tenth of what we spend
And who are
on the
they
military.
attacking? Who are they? They
They
only
haven't
are
attacked
doing it
anybody.
because we are threatening them.
Right.
Like, period.
Yeah. China has not fought a war since my dad was like 4 years old or something like that.
Yeah, the last
Um,
thing they did was try to take Vietnam again after everybody keeps trying to take
right.
Vietnam.
And we were happy about that. We encouraged their last war, I should
Yes.
note.
Yes. And it wasn't really that big a deal. Like
It was
Vietnam
like
was
a
like,
month.
really, y'all, fuck off. And they were
It
like,
was like a
okay, you're
month
right,
and
sorry.
Vietnam won again because Vietnam wins. Fucking is
Always.
they were like France, run it. Japan, run it. France again, run it. America, China, fucking Cambodia. We'll fuck with anybody. It's crazy.
We'll get you all. I
Yeah,
love them.
and they
I
did
love
it.
the Vietnamese people.
So, oh well, we have to build these things, these AI weapons, right? Um, and you like it's like, oh well, we can't have moral debates. We just have to do it. And it's like, or because our enemies will. And it's like, well, okay, let's say that's true. Let's say our enemies that want to destroy us will. Why are you building domestic use AI
Mm.
weapons then? Like,
Mm-hmm.
are you saying your enemies internally, the homeless people and the immigrants are building AI weapons? Those people that you want to like, no, they're not. The fuck are you talking about? So there you go.
Mm.
Again, half of this is like a plan for fascism, but the other half of it is like them selling shit, which, since fascism is a version of capitalism, is often the same thing. I mean, there's a
Right.
reason that like certain industrialists sided with the like fascists.
Of course. I mean, I am a big fan of the idea that fascism is essentially imperialism come home, right? It's
Mhm.
turned inward, and therefore that you see it using all of the same tools and tactics that we have been using abroad and in our internal colonies for centuries. I On How the Red Was Won, the episode that is about to come out, I interviewed these two local activists working on, it's called Stop Capital Factory. Capital Factory is essentially a, I don't understand money and business, but they're basically like they bring in venture capital money and connect it to all these different organizations and companies, and some of it is straight up like weapons used in Gaza, and then they're literally bringing them here so that they can use it on the border. It's like a locus for all of those things to meet right here in Austin. And I think that's a really good example of the way that this technology that we're seeing used in Ukraine and in Gaza is already and will be ramped up being used here first against immigrants and then against our own citizens.
I mean, 3 years ago, actually a little more than 3 years ago, Anthony Lowenstein wrote The Palestine Laboratory, which is a book very much, it's from Verso Books, and it's very much about how a lot of occupation surveillance technology in Gaza and the West Bank, and this was written, prior to the October 7th, is used, is exported, is tested and exported. And the book also acknowledges that's been used in populations like Native Americans, Puerto Rico, places like that, and that it doesn't stop there. Is kind of the point of the book, and that's very much, and Palantir has been engaged in that since its creation.
Mm.
So national service should be a universal duty. We should, as a society, seriously consider moving away from an all-volunteer force and only fight the next war if everyone shares in the risk and the cost. Does that include Alexander Karp and Peter Thiel? Would you like to pick up guns, or do you, feel comfortable saying that because you are now above the age of enlistment? You absolute fucking jackasses.
I think that if we did instate a national draft, we would see an uptick in fragging. But no, there are countries that do national service, and specifically like Vietnam does, and it's something that I had a lot of questions about when I was there. But there's a fundamental difference in a country like Vietnam, where your national service is actually protecting your homeland against, it's protecting your revolution essentially. And most of them are doing like security around the embassies and stuff, security at like the mausoleum for Ho Chi Minh and things. I talked to a few of them, and they were not scary the way American cops and military are. Like, they're just young people doing their like 2 years. And so I think it's very different the way we look at mandatory service in a place like Vietnam that is purposefully protecting their revolution, and a place like the US where our military is actively engaging in imperialism.
Well, it's also worth noting, like, read the description here says the next war we should all be bought into, right? It is like
Mm.
we should draft people with the intention of carrying out another war. Like, it's
Mm.
not even framed defensively or
Right.
even patriotically that much. It's just like
Yeah.
we just need more grist for the mill, and it's like, all
Yeah.
right,
Draft
give it a
Congress.
shot.
Send them first. All right, number 7. If the US Marine asks for a better rifle, we should build it. And the same goes for software. We should be a country capable of continuing a debate about the appropriateness of military action abroad while remaining unflinching in our commitment to those we have asked to step into harm's way.
Well, not asked to step in harm's way, demanded, according to your last point. But okay.
Literally the previous mark. Yes.
Me getting
Again, these are
drafted and being
things.
like, I'd like a better rifle. They give it to me. I'd like a better rifle. Just keep on asking. You have to give it to them every time they ask for a better
Every
rifle.
time.
That's the rule. I didn't write the
I
rule.
I just need one grenade. Again, this is something that
I need
sounds
more than that.
yeah, that sounds normal on the surface, right? Oh, we want to build better everything. But then, yeah, you put it in the context of everything else around it. And just this idea that we do have, the most overfunded, bloated, gigantic, insane military in the world, and it's constantly treated like that's a good thing, but it's also not enough, and we have to keep pouring money into this when our military budget is like the same as the next 10 nations combined. And yet we're still getting our asses whooped. Like, obviously, there's money isn't the issue here, right?
Well, a big part of it is also that people like Alexander Karp are interested in making the military and kind of civilian enforcement of law slash paramilitary shit all kind of one thing. They want to make ICE and the police and the military all of it, and they want the average populace to be drafted into it and in this culture of it, and they want us all to be using their surveillance technology. And it's a very, like, this concept of kind of everything merging together into one super machine. And we've seen that ongoing. That's not a Palantir concept. I mean, Alec Carcastanis has been talking about, surplus military weaponry going to police for years.
It has been, yeah.
But it's kind of this idea of the continuing, like, forging the military into the police, into ICE, into DHS, into all of it, into this like
Mm.
one large block that can be used domestically and abroad as a singular
Mhm.
thing, and that the population is part of that. So that's also like a kind of a critical side to their theory. Um,
Yes. And I'd like to remind everyone that a lot of the reason that the local police are so militarized, that was an Obama era decision
oh yeah.
to send all those excess tanks to fucking cops.
Number 8, public servants need not be our priests. Any business that compensated its employees the way that the federal government compensates public servants would struggle to survive. I have no particular qualms with this one, actually. They probably have different. I mean, like, we should pay public sector employees better. I'm sure
Mhm.
Palantir wants to do it so that they don't like strike and organize. But
Mm.
like, in theory, I have no disagreement with this actual statement.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, I mean everybody should be paid more. Yeah.
yeah.
Number 9. We should show far more grace towards those who have subjected themselves to public life.
Oh my
The
god.
eradication of any space for forgiveness, a jettisoning of any tolerance for the complexities and contradictions of the human psyche, may leave us with a cast of characters at the helm we will grow to regret. This is basically like stop harassing your fascist senator when he's at dinner. And fuck that.
Yeah. Interesting. Talking about jettisoning people. What
Yeah.
happened to Jeff Thomas? He seemed to have gotten jettisoned from a Miami penthouse while spending time with Peter Thiel. Neither here nor there. But I
Hmm.
would rather be jettisoned from public life than say jettisoned from the penthouse when I had pissed off my boyfriend.
Ooh.
Um,
This is just saying, like, stop
Cancel
canceling people for
culture.
being
Yeah.
in the Epstein files. Like, look, we all make
Which, by the way, Peter
mistakes.
Thiel is in.
Yeah, of course. Look, who hasn't flown on a private jet to an island of pedophiles and gone to a party with naked 12-year-olds? Who amongst us has not done that?
Yeah, who amongst us has not? Yeah, who amongst us has not started a weaponry company that has, by your own admission, killed innocent people with faulty AI? That's just how it happens, you know.
Look,
It's just the love of the game. Who
look,
amongst
we
us
all make
hasn't funded the
mistakes.
career of fucking JD Vance, or who isn't friends with Curtis Yarvin? Like, come on.
Look, I've
Um,
locked my keys in my car, like
yeah,
things happen, right? We
yeah,
all make
full body's
mistakes.
nerfed, as they say.
Number 10.
The psychologization of modern politics is leading us astray. Those who look to the political arena to nourish their soul and sense of self, who rely too heavily on their internal life, finding expression in people they may never meet, will be left disappointed.
I mean, sure.
I mean, it's very much being like, telling you like, oh, stop caring so much, though. I think is
Right.
like the actual point they're making. Like, do I agree you should have a life outside of politics? Sure. But like, it's very much being like, hey, y'all should stop being so invested in this. Don't you want to go smell the roses that we're like killing with the like
Yeah.
chemicals from our data centers or something? Don't you want to
Yeah.
go, take like whatever new concoction of drugs like you're able to due to the laws in your state that make some shit illegal and some shit not? Don't you want to like take a ton of a ton of Delta 8 gummies and like just like fucking disassociate, like take some
They just
kratom or
banned those
whatever?
in Texas.
Yeah, they're
Uh
like banning and unbanning that shit here in Georgia.
Everything.
Like, you never know. Trump
While
just
I
said
am
that
a
he's like gonna allow shrooms. Like, there's just like they're just saying shit.
Nothing
It's
makes
impossible to
sense.
know.
While I am a fan of logging off and touching grass, which I guess is part of what this is saying, um yeah, that's not the solution to anything. It's and I think most of this is directed towards the ruling class, right? And so sure, they should get a life outside of politics. But for those of us that are on the revolutionary side of things, this is not for us. We should be finding meaning in our organizing, and obviously it's not your soul and sense of self and everything, but it is actually very important, and you should find solace in it, and you should find meaning in it, and fuck these guys.
Yeah.
Okay, number 11. Our society has grown too eager to hasten and is often gleeful at the demise of its enemies. I mean, yeah. The vanquishing of an opponent is a moment to pause, not rejoice. Fuck you. When this guy dies, I'm going to be happy.
Also, tell that to Donald Trump, right? Like, Donald Trump
Right?
is gleeful over the destruction of people that haven't even lost yet.
Yes.
Donald Trump
No.
loses a fight and then is like, hell yeah, I defeated you. I don't even understand what this one is about, to be honest. Like, I don't even know what he's getting at here. Like,
Is he
okay.
mad that there were crab memes when Kissinger died? Like, what are we talking about
Maybe.
here?
It's just the defeat of an opponent. It's like, I don't know what we're fucking referring to here.
Yeah, because Trump is the one that's talking about destroying civilizations. So
Right.
that's
I,
not us.
I can't make heads or tails of this one. Number
Yeah.
12 is insane. The atomic age is ending. One age of deterrence, the atomic age is ending, and a new era of deterrence built on AI is set to begin. That makes no fucking sense.
This is
Nuclear
nonsense.
weapons still kill you the same amount that they did before AI proliferation.
Right.
AI deterrence is insane to talk about. It's like a thing that can be worked into certain weapons. It already has been worked into certain weapons, but like at the end of the day, whether you have self-piloting drones is less important than whether you can blow up an entire country with the push of a button. And
Right.
like that has not changed. That's an
Yeah.
insane thing to say and is going to get somebody nuked
I
talking
mean,
like
I
this.
wish the atomic age was ending.
Yeah, it's
That
not.
would actually be a good thing if people were getting rid of their nukes. But no, he's talking about continuing to have nukes and just have them controlled by AI, which is, I mean, I don't know if I'd rather have Donald Trump with a button or an AI. I feel like they're both could go either way, but it's not
Okay,
great.
what about an AI of Donald Trump? Think about that.
If they feed
That's
it
the
like just all his tweets over the years, yeah,
yeah.
I think an AI Trump would probably push the button.
Yeah, like instantly.
Yeah.
It's also interesting because it's like there are arguments to be made about like there are significant changes in warfare that have occurred. That is true. Drones
Yeah.
especially.
Yeah.
That said, like AI is not the shit that's like changing warfare. It is a meaningful
Mm.
adjustment, but
Mhm.
like it is basically an evolution of the remote warfare of drones. Like there is
Mm.
nothing if you are like what's changing warfare more, AI or drones? It's drones times a million, and the fact AI is only important because of its integration into drones. So like
Yeah.
and I think the one useful thing of AI for these people is, and you see it with their point a little earlier, is that it allows some people to kind of wash their hands of moral culpability.
Mm.
There's reporting from like Zetio and Dropsite that apparently like people at the Pentagon are like, we don't have to feel bad about the girls' school bombing because Anthropic AI told us to bomb there, right?
Jesus Christ.
And it's like, okay, saying I believe you. I don't know if I believe. I don't know if I believe that, but let's for the sake of argument say I believe you. You
Yeah.
were told to bomb this by the computer. You programmed the fucking computer, and also you
Mhm.
have like the responsibility. Like when I send an email and I get like a suggestion for like spell check,
Yeah.
double check the spell check. You're telling
Correct.
me that you like didn't double check the like place you were dropping in a 10-ton bomb? Like what the fuck are you talking about?
No, it's
It,
either way it's fucking evil.
you can see a way that leads to like a society though, or like especially militarization of like, oh, don't feel bad, man, like the AI did it. And if it becomes easier and easier for drones to be piloted by AI and just a human
Mhm.
clicks the button to deploy them, like
Mhm.
less and less like personal guilt being felt, I
Yeah.
can see a world where they do that to get around like the human impulse to not do things.
Sure, which is terrifying.
Well, I mean, you have local cases here in Atlanta of landlords who are using AI to determine rent prices, right? And they say when rent goes up, I didn't raise your rent, the AI did.
Wasn't me. Wasn't
And
me. They're
again,
shaggy all the time. Wasn't me. Saw her
another
on the
way to get
counter.
around like the like what's the last vestige holding capital back is that like at the end of the day, human beings, even the capitalists they have to kill their human impulse to be a capitalist. Get around even the last thing holding back capital, which is humanity itself.
Humanity itself is a problem.
I'm sure
Number
Peter Thiel thinks
13 is
so.
crazy, considering that Cuba is right there, and even places like, I don't know, Canada and Sweden. Number 13, no country in the history of the world has advanced progressive values more than this one. The United States is far from perfect, but it is easy to forget how much more opportunity exists in this country for those who are not hereditary elites than in any other nation on the planet. This is the most batshit wrong thing in this whole list, honestly.
Yeah, obviously not, right?
Like,
Like
people are actively losing rights, specifically bodily autonomy rights, that is for women, that is for trans people, that is for anybody getting locked up in a prison or a detention center. And this hereditary elite thing is so crazy when all of the people in power came from money. Like, what are we
right.
doing here?
Or to get in power, you have to like suck the dick of someone with money. Like in the
Yeah, like JD
I mean
Vance
like
did.
JD Vance, right?
Yeah.
I do not whether or not he's literally done that with Peter Thiel, I have no idea, but
No, he's definitely a bottom.
he
We've decided that.
he's exactly. No, knowing Peter Thiel, like, and knowing who Peter Thiel dates, JD Vance definitely like offered, and then he was like, "You're too ugly." That's how it went down.
Does Peter Thiel date hotties?
Yeah, Peter Thiel dates hot guys. Yeah, no doubt.
Really? Because he's got
I mean,
money.
he's
It
a
makes sense.
billionaire. Like,
Yeah.
like you can get like he dates models, and then the models get old and something happens to them.
Yeah. It's kind of like Leo, but at least he doesn't kill them.
Not to my knowledge.
Not-
American power has made possible an extraordinarily long peace. Too many have forgotten, or perhaps take for granted, that nearly a century of some version of peace has prevailed in the world without a great power military conflict. At least 3 generations, billions of people, and their children and now grandchildren have never known a world war.
It's insane.
Like, I'm sorry, fighting a regional war, like, it doesn't, like, if you live in Vietnam, do you give a shit if you're getting bombed, whether or not like it's a world war or not? Does that make a material difference to you? If you're in Indonesia and you were one of the 1.5 million people who died after the Jakarta coup, like, does it make a difference to you that like that this is not technically like what are we talking about? If you look at the numbers
Absurd.
of people dead in Cold War conflicts, it is comparable to a third world war. In fact, it's more than any of the world wars. Now, it's stretched over a larger period of time. If you're saying like, yeah, there wasn't like a World War III in the same way as World War I or II because like conditions shifted, but like also one could argue that like, oh, that's because of like American power. Like, you have to give equal amount of credit to like the other side too. And I doubt this guy would say because of Soviet power that didn't happen.
Right.
Um, and I don't even think that makes sense. Like, it's not because of Soviet power there wasn't a World War III either, by the way. I'm not making that argument. I'm just saying like there just wasn't like a World War III of the same type because that wasn't good for international capital. That wasn't
Right.
because people didn't want to fight a World War III. Also, I'll note on so many occasions we got to the cusp of a World War III, and it was
Mhm.
through the work of people all around the world, including activists in this country of the type that Palantir hates, that we didn't go over the edge. Nixon got really fucking close to
Yeah.
doing some crazy shit in the
Yeah.
70s, and he's directly cited like the protests at the White House, the very militant protests that actually at one point scared him to going into his bunker. There were so many
Good.
people shaking the gates of the White House that
Yeah.
he did not do it. Like, fuck off with that.
Well, to act like a world war is the like cusp you have to breach to mean that it's not peaceful. American power has made possible an extraordinarily long peace. The US has not been in peace except for what, 2 years in the last century? Like something very small. We are currently very involved in this Ukraine and Russia thing for multiple years, currently very involved in the destruction of Gaza, obviously blatantly involved in Iran. We just kidnapped the president of Venezuela. We are, you might not call it a war, but the embargo on Cuba has been starving people for decades. Like, what are we even fucking talking about?
I mean, it
Peace
barely got
here.
any play, but like we bombed Ecuador multiple times in the last couple
Just
months.
recent, like a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
to help shore up, and we were like anti-cartel, quote unquote, to help shore up their like strongman president. Like we
Who
bombed
runs a cartel?
Trump. Trump admits that we bomb fishing boats in the Caribbean. Like he said, yeah, some of them might be fishing boats. That's like fine.
Who
Like
fucking cares? Yeah.
we've covered it on the show that we've bombed Africa, that we carry out dirty wars there, that we're carrying out a
Yes.
dirty war in the Sahel, that we're involved with like stoking shit in Asia, and on and on.
All
And like
over. I mean,
what they're saying here is that the United States, Canada, Western Europe, and Australia have not had a bomb dropped on them in the last
well,
few
good
decades.
for them.
That's what they're saying. That's
Yeah.
why the world wars count, I
Yes,
think.
because it's white people.
Right. Well, it's and it's a specific. It's not just white people, like because they don't, clearly they don't give a shit about like Yugoslavia or whatever or Russia, right?
Those are
It's
Slavs.
like
White is a very special social construct that only applies to some.
yeah, specifically like Western European and like United States. Like it is very particular. Again, like look into fucking Elon Musk's family and Peter Thiel's family and like these white South Africans and their ideology. If you like don't believe me, they're very particular.
Oh my
Okay.
God. All right, we're at number 15. This is another fully batshit one.
Is this me or you?
The post-war neutering. I like that term. Sorry. Number 15. The post-war neutering of Germany and Japan must be undone. The defanging of Germany was an overcorrection for which Europe is now paying a heavy price. A similar and highly theatrical commitment to Japanese pacifism will, if maintained, also threaten to shift the balance of power in Asia.
I thought they didn't want a world war.
Right. The thing with Germany, and like one of my biggest critiques of like the Stalin eras is that they split Berlin in half instead of the Soviets fully controlling Germany. And I feel like if that had actually happened, we would be in a very different place right now. And I think Germany would be better off. But this idea that I'm a big fan of closing the bases. Like the fact that we are occupying Okinawa is a huge problem, and I think we should get the fuck out of there. But acting like either one of these places was actually like denazified, it didn't happen. In fact, I think it's worse now. Japan is like as pedophilic as Israel in so many ways, different ways, really gross, cartoony ways. But like to act like these people have made amends for what happened in World War II, or that they like, I don't know, man. What do you think?
Germany has access. It's technically U.S. bombs, but the German military has got access to it. 15 nuclear gravity bombs at the Buchel Air Base. So, like, spare me that Germany is demilitarized, right?
Yeah.
Germany, like, look, yeah, we demilitarized, and I don't mean just the United States here. The international community demilitarized Germany and Japan after World War II because of what happened in World War II, right? And also, like, in Germany's case, also World War I. The idea, like, and also, like, I don't understand like what price he's saying Germany, like Europe has paid. I can understand, at least in Japan, he's making the argument, oh, we got to check China. But like, is he saying like, oh, if we hadn't demilitarized Germany, they could have like entered the Ukraine war? Like that doesn't make, especially considering like Palantir's position on Ukraine has been very weird because they don't want to like fully cut off Russia for like potential shit there. Like, I think they just want to sell more weapons and more technology, which like fair enough. That is their prerogative. But like the idea of like, oh, we need to like give these states who started World War II, the bloodiest war in human history, more power. Like they should be allowed to, like, whatever. I mean, like, I believe in self-determination, and I don't think current Germans and current Japanese people bear responsibility for like the sins of their forebears. But also, like, no one is actually stopping Japan or Germany from remilitarizing in any particular way. And they have been remilitarizing. Like, look at their numbers. Germany spends like has just doubled their national defense spending over the last 10 years. Japan has been rebuilding its fleet. That, the reason they haven't fully remilitarized is because the US is paying for their militarization, is paying for their protection, and they would much rather spend that shit on other things. That's a tactical thing. If you're going to have bases from another country in your country, you might as well let them spend all the defense money. Like, that's like a fucking tactical choice.
It makes so much sense. And like we spend so much on military hours and these other places, and they are able to have this beautiful, clean public transportation. The streets are clean. As far as I know, Japan doesn't really have homelessness. Like
I'm sure they
I'm
have
not saying that
some,
it's a
but
yeah, I'm not saying it's like a paradise. They're far from being socialist, but
well,
because they
they're
don't have
able
to
to
spend that.
have
Yeah.
they're able to have these programs without socialism because they spend their excess money on that instead of their military.
Instead of bombs. Yeah. We
Right.
spend it on everybody's bombs. Yay.
Right, exactly. And it's they are able, yeah, they're able to have these social welfare programs while also having like a bourgeoisie for that very
Mm.
reason, because they don't have to
Mhm.
spend defense money.
Oh,
Or at least
nice.
significant amount. Okay. 16. Also, one more thing, Palantir supports the AfD in Germany, just worth noting that.
Of
So,
course.
and I'm sure they support horrible people in Japan, but I'm not as knowledgeable about that. 16. We should applaud those who attempt to build where the market has failed to act. The culture almost snickers at Musk's interest in grand narrative, as if billionaires ought to simply stay in their lane of enriching themselves. Any curiosity or genuine interest in the value of what he has created is essentially dismissed or perhaps lurks from beneath a thinly veiled scorn. Okay,
Wow. Wow.
so sorry to pick up my eyes because they did roll out of my head.
Mhm.
Um, the culture almost snickers at Musk. No, I am not almost snickering at Musk. I have laughed at that man and will continue to laugh at that man until the
Mhm.
day that something happens. The well, yeah, we laugh at Musk because he rolls out like the Cybertruck, and then and then it like looks like something out of a PlayStation 1 game. Like
Oh my
that, like
god.
when we didn't have the graphics to fully render cars in computers. And so it like it looks like, yeah, like something out of a night, like, or like an old animation thing, like because we didn't have like enough pixels. Like
Right, or like a
it,
child, a first grader draws a car. That's what it looks like.
Musk
It's
just
so
bought up
bad.
personally a fifth of all Cybertrucks that exist for
He
there to be
did.
like liquidity in Tesla. Yeah.
That's funny. I have a sad fact. Austin has the most Cybertrucks per capita. I see them all the time. I was arguing, I shouldn't do this, but somebody was trying to argue with me on Instagram the other day, and it was on a local thing. And I went and checked his page, and I scrolled down a little bit, and he's like a personal trainer, and I'm like, I as someone that works in the fitness industry, I fucking hate people that work in the fitness industry. And he does like a mobile fitness thing, which is cool, go to people's houses. I don't have a problem with that. But I scrolled down a little bit and he was like, finally got my dream car, and now I can make all of my personal training, career come true. And he's like loading weights in the back of his fucking Cybertruck. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not arguing with this guy. Like, what is wrong
Strange
with you?
contradiction I encountered was at an immigrants' rights protest, and someone pulled up in a Cybertruck that was painted like the Mexican flag.
Oh my
And
god.
it was a group of people, and they were there to support, and they were like honking. And this was
Okay.
while Elon was still very much in the Trump administration, like a cabinet member,
Mm-hmm.
not that they're not still linked, but there has been the
Right.
falling out. So it was like a really fucking weird. And I was like, so for my own sanity, I assumed that they stole it. I think they didn't. There's
I
no
love
reason to
it.
think that, but I like to imagine that those people stole it and painted it.
Whenever I
Because that's the
see
only way I can feel good about it.
whenever I see those Blue Lives Matter, like the American flag with just the blue line on it on cars, in order to keep my sanity, I tell myself that they are running drugs and they put that on there so they don't get pulled over, and
So
it makes
sick.
me feel better. Yeah.
Those police, neither here nor there, but those police call centers that, those that they like call you and ask you to donate to like the police
Mm.
union and stuff like
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
Apparently a lot of them have done like extortion like they have used that against like immigrants, that known immigrants, and they've been
Of
like,
course.
you need to donate to this police foundation and we'll give you like bumper stickers that'll protect you. Like that's been a thing. There was a documentary on that a year ago that came
Oh
out
my
on
god.
those extortion rackets. Very
Disgusting.
fucked up, and also doesn't protect you. A lot of those people still get in trouble.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, we
okay.
should not applaud those people for the record. I like that. Number 16 is just like, I'm just a small bean billionaire. You should be nice to me.
Also, Musk's interest in grand narratives. To be clear, Musk tried to back out of buying Twitter. He was doing it as like a grandstanding thing. He did not want to buy Twitter. Actually, he got forced into the deal. The company took him to court to force him to follow through on the deal. He was doing it as a huge publicity stunt to like pump up his stocks, and he like I guess got too high on ketamine and made too many commitments. So like,
Oh,
fucking save me, you know.
speaking
17.
of buying websites, the Onion purchase of Infowars went through yesterday.
So sick. We're gonna reach out to Tim Onion about maybe getting him on.
Alex Jones, come on the podcast. Let's talk about it.
Oh my god.
Number 17. Silicon Valley must play a role in addressing violent crime.
Jesus
Many
Christ.
politicians across the United States have essentially shrugged when it comes to violent crime, abandoning any serious efforts to address the problem or take on any risk with their constituencies or donors, and coming up with solutions and experiments in what should be a desperate bid to save lives. Violent crime. Ooh.
I love experimenting on criminal justice.
Yeah,
that
that's
sounds like a great
crazy.
idea. Well, like what they
Crazy.
want to do? Minority Report. They want to do the fucking prison from Demolition Man, where you like freeze people for 50 years. Like the fuck are you talking about?
We're just doing
Experiment.
the Stanford prison experiment, and then everybody that like pushes the button until they die, they're hired.
Look, Alex Karp. We've never experimented in this country with defunding the police. I'm just saying, we've never
Ooh.
experimented with it.
Maybe
We've
that's
never
what
done
he
it.
means. Maybe
Alex,
that's what
are
he
you against experimentation or are you against innovation?
Jokes
Silicon
aside,
Valley should have a role. Is hilarious.
Jokes aside, yeah, he's just talking about flock cameras on every corner, monitoring everything everybody does. We're talking about like stop and frisk and amping up all of those things. When they talk about violent crime, they mean crime against the ruling class, and they consider property crime violent. Spray paint, a Molotov cocktail thrown through a billionaire's window. I mean, that is violent, but it's also acceptable. So,
Well, it's also like their proposed solutions aren't going to stop that. Like, here's the thing.
right.
They only know how to crack down on shit. I am telling you that Palantir's proposed solutions will make this country a more violent place. And I mean that both ways. If you did everything on this list, if you started telling every young person in this country they had to join the military, if you started introducing Palantir robots in every street corner, like, yeah, you would have more crackdowns. Maybe you would see some like progression in like deportation rates. You know, you may be more effective at deporting people, which is a form of violence. There would also be more fight back. If like the more people are in your face, the more you deal with this shit, the more people fight back. I mean, this is something George Jackson talks about in Blood My Eye. He says that like a revolutionary moment will involve like classes of people and types of people who have not felt the state heavy hand in their lives emerging, and that is how they will join the fight. This is just basically proposing like you go into what like George Jackson would call that like stage, that like elevated stage of fascism is what they're talking about.
Yeah.
It would not calm things down. 18. The ruthless exposure of the private lives of public figures drives far too much talent away from government service. The public arena and the shallow and petty assaults against those who dare to do something other than enrich themselves has become so unforgiving that the Republic is left with a significant roster of ineffectual, empty vessels whose ambition one would forgive if there were any genuine belief structure lurking within.
Look, Jake.
Jesus.
Jake. Look. If a senator wants to have a Nazi tattoo, who are we to judge him for that?
You know, I'd say I'd even agree with you, but Palantir said he was too woke. So
did they really?
Yeah, they think he's too woke.
No woke Nazis.
No woke Nazis, exactly.
This is also just crying cancel culture bullshit. Like, on one hand, I think it's true in some ways that like I think I would have a hard time running for office. But because of nonsense reasons that they would pull out about me, right? She has neck tattoos. She worked at a titty bar in her 20s. She smoked a lot of weed when she was young. You know, like shit like that I don't think should matter. Instead
she
of the
smoked
things,
too tough, her swag too different. Yeah, exactly.
She played cool. roller derby, and you know what that means. Rather than what they actually what he's actually talking about, which is like, it's fine if this guy did some war criminals. It's fine if Spamberger was in the CIA and did fucked up shit. We want these people.
Yeah, exactly. 19.
The caution in public life that we unwittingly encourage is corrosive. Those who say nothing wrong often say nothing much at all. I mean, again, some of these things are like true to a point. There are a lot of politicians that literally say nothing at all. I'm looking at Kamala Harris here, who
Right,
can
but they think
answer.
Donald Trump says something. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Right. He says lots. It contradicts itself like in the same sentence, but he says a lot.
Yeah, and not to glaze Mamdani, but like I think in a lot of ways he is a better like mouthpiece for the whatever the Socdim or the reformist movement, because he does say things that people don't want him to say, and I think that that is a good thing.
Yeah, it's just like he is something. He comes from a position. He has a perspective, right? Like it does not feel like it does not feel just like a floating vessel of nothingness. Which like that argument would make sense, except these people are like aligned with fucking Elon Musk, a guy who has changed positions so many times. Elon Musk was a Democrat until 2015. Elon Musk, who's like large part of his personal vendetta is driven by like not being able to handle the fact that his like daughter came out as trans, right? And that's not
Yeah.
to blame his daughter for his far right turn. That's to say like this shit was in him, and he would say one thing when he thought it was like palatable. Like in 2014, he would say shit like, "Oh, I support trans rights," because that was like where the money was in Silicon Valley. And then shit changed, and he changed, right? Like these people love this. Peter Thiel is a guy who talks about the Antichrist all the time and is like talking about being an evangelical Christian, but also like says it's okay for him to be gay because he's like God's elect. He did a 6-part series on the Antichrist at this college where he concluded that Greta Thunberg was the Antichrist. Like, what are we talking about? Anyway, okay. 20. The pervasive intolerance of religious belief in certain circles must be resisted. The elite's intolerance of religious belief is perhaps one of the most telling signs that its political project constitutes a less open intellectual movement than many within it would claim.
You know, I think that religious intolerance is an actual big problem in the U.S. Hence the Islamophobia we see everywhere.
Right. I want to note Peter Thiel is a member and really kind of the leader of the Acts 17 collective. Are you familiar with that, Jen?
No, but I feel like you're about to tell me something horrible.
The Acts 17 collective is a Silicon Valley evangelical pseudo church. They're not really a church. They meet at different places. They hold parties, things called like cocktails and the cosmos and things like that, where they get together a lot of rich people and they talk about God. Typically, Peter Thiel will give a sermon. He's like kind of their pseudo pastor. I'm not making this up.
Is
You
this
can
a
look it up.
cult? This sounds like a cult.
It's kind of a cult, but like it's more lazy than that. Like, you know, it's not like formalized enough to be what you would call a traditional cult. It is mostly just like a collection of these horrible people and a place for them to like send their money. They have held meetings mostly in Los Angeles and San Francisco, but also they have done, get this, Acts 17 collective meetings in Dubai. Now tell me this, Jen, if you were a really committed Christian, why is Dubai the place that you're holding your big Christian conference?
Because it's a tax haven.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing I'll say about this is if you look at I forget her name, but the lady who is like the formal head of the Act 17 collective, even though Peter Thiel is the main money and ideology behind it, she said in her interview with Focus on the Families magazine, because I read that because I'm insane.
I don't know why you hurt your brain like this.
I have to. I have no choice.
I know.
She said, just wait for it. She said, listen, because the Focus on the Family magazine was like, it's kind of weird that you're a church just for rich people, right? Like even they were like, huh? And she said, listen, Jesus says that it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven, right? That is the thing Jesus said. The rich lady then says, that's Jesus telling us that the rich need extra attention because it's harder for them to get to heaven, so they need special help. That's why we made a church just for rich people. And I'm like, no, Jesus is saying you don't get in, that you're not in the club, you jackass.
Are they just building like a giant needle that they walk camels through?
Right, like shout out to a friend of the pod, AJ Diddy, who wrote that skit once where he was like a rich person grinding up a camel into a fine paste and feeding it through a needle. And he's like, I did it, God. I murdered a camel. Like, that's the type of shit we're doing here. Like, could it be any more clear that Jesus hates your ass? So be an atheist. You should be an atheist if you're Peter Thiel, right? Like, or find a different religion. I don't know what religion supports material, like, I guess fucking be a Mormon. I don't know. But like aside from that, I don't know any other major religion that's going to be like, yeah, it's cool to be rich.
It's
because like
Scientology.
I guess I don't even know if that's a major religion. It's like,
it's a cult.
Yeah.
Have you seen, totally off topic, kids in LA have been filming themselves running into the Scientology building to see how far they can get, and it's my favorite genre right now.
It's so fucking cool.
I love it. The kids are all right.
The kids are all right. Anyway,
okay.
This whole thing with like religion and public life, it's like they just want people to be religious again, so they have more like evangelical backing. They don't want people to be religious in ways they don't like. They don't fucking like the Pope now because the Pope like has spoken against their insane wars. They don't like Islam. They don't like you know, strains of Judaism that break from like Christian Judaism, right? Like they want all Jews to be like
Zionists. Yeah.
Well, not just Zionists. They want them to be like Christians, basically. Like they want them to behave like Christians. They don't want them to behave in any way that's quote unquote exotic. Like they want Judeo-Christian values, which means Christian values, which means American Christian values, which means the worship of capital. Like that's what they want to do. They want to flatten everybody into a fucking paste, like one thing, anybody who can like fit into their club, and then they want to throw people out. They want to
through the eye of the needle. Yeah.
We talked about this in our literature episode on the oh my God. The Yiddish Policemen's Union. We talked about in the Yiddish Policemen's Union episode how a project of like, you know, white supremacist evangelical culture has been to like what Jews they can induct them into whiteness, remove like their individual culture from them, like remove like actual stuff that makes the Christians uncomfortable, and then like jettison the folks that don't fit in or like will go against their narrative or want to have any kind of like politic or culture or religiosity that's like different or makes them uncomfortable. I mean, like I having been raised in this culture, I've seen the like fucking Western Conference shit that the people like Steve Berger are putting on that are Judeo-Christian, which is just like reducing Jews to Christians, right? My point about that is not to like harp on one religion, but rather to make the point that these people want to flatten all things into themselves, and they want to make one sort of religious mass that is like tied with like techno-fascist capital. So it is not an interest in religion and mysticism and like whatever. If they want to have a conversation about like religion, like an actual conversation, you think Alex Karp wants to sit down with like our friend Brett O'Shea or something like that and talk about religion? Because I'm sure he'd be like, you know what I mean? No, they don't want to talk about like his religion. You know what I mean? Like they don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk to fucking Khamenei. They don't want to talk like they're not interested in talking about like what drives like somebody in Hamas. They're not, or Hezbollah. They're not interested in that. They are interested in like conformity.
Yeah, they're actually not religious. Like I think that they're not even Christian like they claim to be. Like it is a bastardization of what Christianity is at its heart.
It's hard for me to say whether or not like they believe in their heart of hearts. I think it depends on the person. Fair. There are a lot of evangelicals who definitely do believe.
But they believe in what I think is a bastardization. Yeah.
Yeah. Does Peter Thiel, does Alex Karp in their heart of hearts actually believe in God? I know Donald Trump doesn't, but like, anyway.
Crazy. All right. Number 21, Blackjack. This is extremely racist. Some cultures have produced vital advances. Others remain dysfunctional and regressive. All cultures are now equal. Criticism and value judgments are forbidden. Yet this new dogma glosses over the fact that certain cultures, and indeed subcultures, have produced wonders. Others have proven middling and worse, regressive and harmful. Wow. And also, I would say that the regressive and harmful culture would be that of the West. Regressive and harmful, the American culture. But that's not what we're talking about here.
Like, are they talking about like their white South African friends? Was white South African culture like progressive? Like, what are we talking about here, right?
Who are they degrading? But
the accomplishments of the West that they want to hold up, like when they talk about like progressive values, is like the people who were dissidents against the West. When they want to be like, look, they because Elon Musk said this the other day, right? And Elon Musk is part of this whole thing. He said, get this, America ended slavery was a thing that Elon Musk said. Okay. In theory, like the dissidents against the United States ended slavery, right? The slaves rebelling, the abolitionists, the dissidents against Western culture.
If you want to argue that it's actually been ended, but
right,
yes,
the system of slavery that did exist, the chattel slavery
changed.
system, but like those victories that you want to point to, things like that, like. Or even like, let's talk about the technological advances. The United States has invented some amazing things. Who's done it? Not the Peter Thiels of the world, the working people of the world who've invented vaccines, who invented cars, who've invented like all that shit is super cool. And it has by and large been invented by people that if they got credit for it, they didn't get as much credit for it. And by and large, it was like the people who made the money were the fucking Edisons of the world. The people who invented jack shit stole from like inventors and then like, hyped themselves up about it.
Well,
AKA the Elon Musks, the Peter Thiels.
This idea that like that slavery was ended, that things were progressive, even back to this earlier one about like culture and stuff, like all of those people, like you said, were actually like fighting against what the US was. And this is the argument I make about quote unquote communists who want to like fly the American flag. And I'm like, all of your heroes here were fighting against the United States.
Right.
They weren't like the Black Panthers, the abolitionists, John Brown, like these people were not welcomed into the fold of the US. They were actively fighting against the government. And like this idea of cultural advances, the people that he is trying to degrade here, what are we talking about? Iran, one of the most ancient and progressive civilizations in the history of the world that like invented fucking math. Like who are you trying to degrade in this?
It's a crazy thing to do, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. And like, yeah, we can, I don't know. It's just like a cover for, it's a way they can say racist shit without being racist. And indeed it's a way they can, they maybe have some of them, maybe, I don't know what's in Alex Karp's heart, but maybe Alex Karp has, sure. But maybe some of them have a long-term vision of, I'm not racist. If black people would act like white people, I'd like them. Right. Some of them have those thoughts. Like they really do. There are people like that.
You're right. Like, it's not the skin color. It's the way they act.
It's the exact same thing. Like the way we were just talking about, like with like a lot of American Christians that like love Jews when Jews want to act just like them and do basically be them. Right. Like if you will be subsumed into the fucking evil monolith, then sure. Like, and that's what they're really saying here. But the fact of the matter is most of their base, and in fact, many of their leaders are too racist even to allow that. Like, like Elon Musk is like tweeting every day about like the average Somalian's IQ is 60, which is like, again, IQ is bullshit. That's not true. Even under the metrics of IQ we have, that's not true. And also like, he's just making the argument that they can never be subsumed and they're racially inferior. It's a eugenicist argument.
So gross. All right, man, take it home.
Last one. We must resist the shallow temptation of a vacant and hollow pluralism. We in America, and more broadly, the West, have for the past half century resisted defining national cultures in the name of inclusivity. But inclusion into what?
Inclusion into what?
Famous, like the last half century is crazy. Like you're saying Ronald Reagan was too pluralistic. You're saying George H.W. Bush was too pluralistic. Bill Clinton, George W. Bush. Like even like it's insane to even say that about Joe Biden and Obama. Like at least with Obama, you could be like, he wasn't like a white American, but like he
was in every metric that mattered.
He still fucking cracked down on immigration and shit like that. You know, like it's
Black Lives Matter happened under Obama because
the original breakout in Ferguson.
Yes.
So like the argument doesn't even make sense. Like they are rewriting history to be like, we've been too into pluralism and we've been too into hearing too many perspectives and we need to have a national identity. But one thing they never do is lay out what our national identity actually needs to be and what it needs to look like. Because anytime they actually make a vision of that, everyone, even their own people, are like, well, that's stupid.
Well,
Like,
it's so funny. Like, we grew up, at least I did, like, the US is a melting pot. This idea of a melting pot
right.
where
That was
all these
yeah.
cultures could come together and live in harmony and yada yada yada. And that was in what, like the 80s and 90s that was being drilled into me. Oh, phrasing, sorry. But then like now they want to be like that's bad, which is a crazy turn in just like a couple of decades.
It's that, and also there's no proposed alternative, right? Like whenever they
Right.
put out actual policy plans, people don't like them. So all they have is criticism, right? They don't have like and here's what our culture's gonna be. They just have we have to get rid of all these repugnant cultures. And like the culture they end up with is like what, like offices where you stay for 14 hours and it's really cool because they have a ping pong table in the office, but nobody's allowed to use it, or you'll get like a demerit and you sleep in sleeping pods and you scroll on Twitter with your free time. Like the fuck are
They
you
just
talking about?
want to endlessly critique culture. They don't want to change it.
That's so true. You're so right, Jen. You're so right. Well, in totality, this shit
Ugh,
sucks. This shit
this
is
shit
bad.
sucks.
And if Donald Trump drops dead tomorrow, which he might, look at the man, this shit is going to remain with us. If this in the midterms, if there's a sweep, hell, let's come up with like the liberal wet dream of there's such a sweep in the midterms that they impeach Donald Trump. They're not going to do that. But like, let's say liberal dream, they kick him out of office, whatever. This shit stays with us. These people stay with us. This is the lingering thing that neither party has any interest of getting rid of. Both parties have interest in giving increasingly large contracts to. It is integrated into our national security state. In fact, if you had a president today who wanted to get rid of them, it would be very hard to extricate them from the systems as they already exist. And by the way, there is no chance we're getting a president anytime soon that wants to extricate them. I'm just saying, even if they did, this shit, like, you want to talk about the deep state? This is the actual deep state. And they're very open about it, and it's very clear what they do, and it is not hidden.
No, he's been
so
impeached
that is why
twice.
we got to know
it's
about this
nonsense. I mean, it's meaningless. Impeachment is meaningless.
I mean, would it be fun to watch? Of course. Like,
Yeah, I guess it was fun last time, but after the second time and nothing happened, I'm like,
oh no, I mean, I remember like liberal wet dream.
Clinton.
They throw him out. Even this doesn't go away. Is my point, and that won't happen.
Trump is not, again, Trump is a system. Yeah, I've been sending you all those videos of that guy on Instagram, epistemic crisis.
Yeah.
His prediction, he's been sticking with it. He's like 48 hours. So we're recording this Tuesday evening. He said within, like, by the end of this week, he thinks that Trump will either, as he says, leave the land of the living or be like forced down. And I think that's obviously it's Trump not being president is a good thing. But JD Vance being the first president younger than me really bothers me in selfish ways that shouldn't matter. But that still won't change anything. He'll put Marco Rubio as his VP or something equally as terrible. Like, acting like Trump leaving is a big change. It is not, right?
I mean, like, and there's no guarantee Trump does leave, but if it does happen, exactly, and if they elect a Democrat next, like, there is a
Gavin
deep,
Newsom. Yeah, we can't wait.
Right, there is a deep rot, and Palantir is a deep part of that rot. And this ideology is undergirding a lot of Silicon Valley now, which is very much trying to assert itself and build this sort of new infrastructure of controlling the 21st century and really operating not just as part of the state, but also operating without the state's consent and without really interest in it, just like doing its thing, being government too, basically, which it's able to be. And it's not good. And it's worth noting Kamala Harris said that not too long ago that if Trump tries to destroy democracy, I'm sure the billionaires and the Silicon Valley people will step in and stop him.
Well, she said that like in seriousness?
Yeah, she was serious.
As if that's not part of their plan. She's like, not stupid. Is she stupid?
She was basically making the argument that she believes that at the end of the day, the business leaders of this country don't want there to be full fascism, and so they would stop. And like, it's probably true that there are like business leaders who are like understand the fact that like liberal democracy is like a good system for capitalism to work with rather than fascism. But like, you got to understand at this point, like the fucking Musks of the world, the Teals of the world, the Karps of the world, that they they view themselves like they have been reading Curtis Yarvin for the last 20 years and they actually
Right.
believe it now. Like the shit that we were making fun of, like the 4chan shit, like
Mm-hmm.
it's in their brains. They have been
Mm-hmm.
had access to the same insane internet as us. They are frying their brains all day with these algorithms, with these apps that they claim to hate. And like, I mean, like recent reporting says Donald Trump spends like hours a day watching AI videos of himself as like a superhero or like an action hero.
That he has dementia. It would be cute if that was your grandpa. It's not cute now.
It does have to rule to be like 80 and watch like videos of yourself being badass. That probably kicks ass. The
I'm sure it's
problem is
super
that he
fun.
then thinks he can impose it on the world.
Yeah.
And the system
Speaking
we
of
have then allows
books,
him to do so.
yeah, books that people should be reading. I'm always plugging this. R. Paul Madut's Fascism and Social Revolution. If you
Yep.
don't understand the connection between the crises of capitalism and the need to preserve it by the rich, and then that turning into fascism, you gotta read this book. Big nerd plug. Read this fucking book.
Absolutely. Read this book. Don't read Alex Karp's book. We gave
Don't
you
read
the
Alex
rundown
Karp.
you need to know. But do know that this isn't fringe. This is an incredibly powerful man from an incredibly powerful corporation. And this was received very well by not just conservatives, but liberals as well, for this idea of this third way future that is not at all a third way. It's just the
That we've been
continuing.
trying since Clinton. This third way bullshit. It's crazy that 30 years later we're still talking about it like it's new.
Jen, true Clintonism has never been tried, okay?
We had 8 years of it. I know you don't remember it,
True
but I
Clintonism.
do. I remember it. I remember all of the blue dress jokes.
I'm gonna be I'm gonna be like one of those like Trotskyists, but for Clintonism. Like there's never been real socialism. It doesn't exist. There's never been real Clintonism.
I feel
It's
like
never been
you've
implemented.
made this pitch before. You've said this before.
I may have, but I love saying it.
This is your thing. No, that's what makes me think you're serious.
Yes, I'm so serious. Communism with Clintonist characteristics. Yeah, kill myself. Okay. Well, that's actually a pretty long episode that took longer than I expected, but that was good.
Do we want to plug the live stream? For
Yes,
people that
we will
made it
plug
this
the live
far?
stream. We will, and there will be posts about it as well. But folks, if you're not subscribed to our Patreon, you should get on our Patreon. We've got all kinds of cool stuff. It is in the Jen is gesturing down as if
I know we don't use video, but I'm like, put it on the screen, right?
It's gonna be the link to join the Patreon is in the description. And on Tuesday, the 28th, for patrons only, we will be having a live stream / video episode that you can access if you can't watch the live stream at the time it recorded. That'll be around, I believe, like something like probably 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern on the 28th. I'll put up the exact time on social media at some point in the coming day.
What are we going to talk about?
I think Aisha is going to stream Baldur's Gate 3. We're going to answer some listeners' questions. And we're just going to shoot the shit. You're going to hear us talk, hear us interact. Cool stuff. So all kinds of fun stuff over there too. You can also suggest episode topics, both for this side of the show and the book side of the show. We'll have a poll up fairly soon for topics on our politics side of the show. Some interesting suggestions so far. Someone was like, can you talk about the concept of the commons? And I was like, I don't know how we could tie that in, but like, yeah, we'll look into it. We'll see.
We can easily tie that in because we're losing public spaces currently. Yes. Into it.
Anyway, so check that out. It's fun. And we like money because this is like, I mean, we do work at this. We do spend time reading. We do spend time talking. Some of us are reading a book every single week for this as well. So like any support is great. And if you don't have the means to financially support, sharing, leaving a review, all that stuff is always very nice.
Hell yeah.
And if Peter Thiel, I know you're listening. I know you've listened to this far. Peter, listen. This guy, Alex, very clearly is trying to take the company from you. He's clearly trying to take it in his own direction. He's writing his manifesto. Peter, I think it's time for a corporate civil war. The two of you, you're going to need to go at it for control over Palantir. I think that's a good idea. And that if you don't do it, he's going to become the Antichrist. So get to it.
All hail the Antichrist.
Well, not in this case. If it's Greta Thunberg, then maybe. Greta, come on the pod. Appreciate y'all. Keep an eye out for the Antichrist, aka Alex Karp. And
Hail Satan.
metaphors are so mixed here.
I don't know.
Bye, y'all.